What determined the difference between liberal and conservative Christians in the American context, and really the European context, had to do with the degree to which one wanted to hold Scripture and the traditions of a particular church as the central authorities that guide one. So you go back all the way to the early 1800s and you see a figure like Schleiermacher in Germany that makes the claim essentially as he's looking around and all of these things in traditional quote-unquote Christianity are being attacked. You've got the authority of Scripture. Scripture is written by human beings over time, and people start to figure out that, gosh, you know, this thing contradicts that thing, and this thing doesn't look like it was even written by this person, and gosh, what are we doing? And all of a sudden this thing's pieced together by multiple authors, etc., etc. And people start looking at their churches, and their churches are functioning in ways that are hypocritical and problematic and upsetting people, and people are upset about the power structures, etc. So a guy like Schleiermacher comes in and says, hey, you know what? None of this stuff matters anymore. What really matters is what's in your heart, feeling. Okay, feeling is ultimately the determining feature. Now, that idea that feeling is the determining feature really becomes sort of the key element of what becomes theological liberalism. The idea that you measure yourself, the truth, against your own experience, against your own way of making sense of the world. And at some level, to many individuals, that works really well. I mean, I would argue that most people were always doing that to some degree in the past, but to come out right out and say, hey, you know what, that just doesn't conform with my feelings and my way of making sense of the world, can obviously be quite threatening, right? Theological conservatives were those people who pushed back on that idea, saying, look, if it's really just about how you feel, then what difference does any of this, why are you even calling yourself a Christian? Why call yourself a Christian and claim that you still bother to read the Bible and even go to a church if really all that matters is what's in your heart, and this structure and these institutions and these texts are secondary to all of that, and they're all just window dressing.